has been almost a year since we experienced a newly introduced and unusual kind of living called the new normal. A current existence which in fact caused a tremendous impact to the lives of the people in the society, professional, age, and children around the world due to pandemic. This topic determines its relevance to the world's current situation wherein people can discover, participate, and conclude the possible outcomes of its course as it continues to seize new exposure to challenges. This paper tackles the topic of online learning, a decisive factor that touches and influences the present situation we encounter. This study conveys the favors and the drawbacks of the new learning mode to the students, in addition to how online learning acts as a light in a tunnel or otherwise how it is compromising or exhausting. The desire and the essentiality of this study are to achieve, perceive, and recognize the students' circumstances in the new learning delivery mode and new normal amidst the pandemic. Possessing to know more about the decided topic is to explore the students' perception, difficulties, and risks while engaging in online classes.
Online learning delivery mode, student circumstances amidst pandemic, acts as it highlights to student circumstances in the new normal. It is undeniable that nowadays most students are experiencing difficulties in achieving right learning as well as coping with ideas through online platforms. With the support of our title, we are yearning to accomplish new viewpoint of individuals to understand the set of situations that students are facing currently. It will also help encourage students to be optimistic while engaging in online classes. Though online class is complicated, but it is helpful to continue what we have started as a learner.
COVID-19 has resulted in closed schools all across the world. Globally, billions of students are out of the classroom and are staying inside their homes. As a result, education has shifted with the remarkable rise of online learning. By doing so, this sudden shift from school lectures in multiple divisions all around the globe makes people left wonder if the adoption of online learning will assert continuation and productivity during these difficult times. In continuation, in between the occurrence of online learning and the pandemic, many students had perceived their circumstances, specifically struggling to long periods of screen time, technology issues, and a sense of isolation. The fact that online learning is difficult and not everyone cannot cope with it. Besides, there is no online course that can even replace personal contact in traditional classes.
There are countries that are still experiencing this issue, namely Africa, India, and New York. In India, according to the studies, online learning was equally important to all the segments of education in the period of pandemic. But 30% of the students are not satisfied with the delivery content through online learning. In the continent of Africa, schools closed throughout the continent in March 2020. Many students did not obtain any schooling, and many students also shared that they have struggled with the online teaching.
Although some places, such as in the nations in Africa and in the Philippines, the problem that occurred in the online learning has not been fully resolved yet. There were some resolutions that were provided to lessen the issues. Here in the Philippines, to solve the problem of having no gadgets to use, organizations gave students laptops, tablets, and even modems. For those who said that online learning is inaccessible, institutions utilized learning platforms and made them easier to maneuver. However, there are still students who said that online learning is ineffective. There is a solution not only for the problems revolving around online learning but also in the pandemic as a whole, and that is to become a disciplined citizens. Following these protocols would lessen the chances of spreading the virus, hence containing it would be a lot easier. When the virus is contained, things will go back to normal, which includes the reopening of face-to-face classes. But that takes a lot of time, so if the student really couldn't cope up, he or she is always free to withdraw from being enrolled.
Another resolution that could solve this issue is that we need a high level of preparedness so that we can quickly adapt the changes in the environment and can adjust ourselves to different delivery modes. For instance, learning or online learning in situations of pandemic such as COVID-19, institutions and organizations should prepare contingency plans to deal with challenges such as pandemic and natural disasters. Reliability and sufficient availability of information communication technology infrastructure, learning tools, digital learning resources in such severe situations. To make e-learning effective in such difficult times, we need to focus on the use of technology more efficiently. That is the usage of the technology which has a minimum procurement and maintenance cost but can effectively facilitate educational process. As several factors affect the choice of particular technology, such as security features, availability and condition of laboratories, internet speed, internet access, digital literacy level of beneficiary, and so on. E-learning can help in providing exclusive education even at the time of crisis. This terrible time of faith has taught us that everything is unpredictable and we need to face challenges. Although this outbreak did not give us much time to plan, we should take a lesson from this that planning is the key. We should plan everything, no matter if plan A fails, we should have plan B ready. This can only be done if we do scenario planning. There is a need to prioritize all the critical and challenging situations may occur and plan accordingly. This pandemic has taught us that students must possess certain skills, such as skills of critical thinking, problem solving, and most importantly, adaptability to survive the crisis. Educational institutions must build resilience in their systems to ensure and prioritize the presence of these skills in their students.
Taking everything into consideration, the online delivery mode occurred this pandemic has created a tunnel of light and a toll to educational sectors and to all of its students. Our country is not yet ready to implement an online learning program, whether that could make us keep up with the other countries' educational development or when another world crisis takes place, because the country's resources cannot meet its demands over time.
An online class is the founded solution to continue the education of the students now that we are experiencing the pandemic. Online classes also serve as the new way of accommodating the loss of face-to-face classes. Many people were against with it, especially those students who don't have internet connection or a gadget to use. And some students were able to accept and take the online classes. This kind of new learning mode has different effects to students.
In conclusion, online learning is advantageous for teachers, students, and institutions in this time of pandemic. Online learning delivery mode is being implemented around the world to avoid possible effect of face-to-face learning in school premises. However, online learning has a lot of challenges such as problem in connection, time management, unavailability of technologies, distraction, etc. As the whole world facing this situation, the learnings and education is still continuous to attain students' needs.
Online classes is one of the things piled up this pandemic. Many countries struggles a lot to have and provide materials for their students' online class. As I browse through the internet, I have read some journals and researches about this issue, and still, the new learning delivery mode is really hard to catch up with.
Basic reading, writing, and arithmetic are taught through institutions. Hence, no matter how people insist that education is insignificant, it will always be untrue. When the pandemic has spread in countries and affected thousands of people, the government was forced to put a stop in every aspect, including education. However, learning cannot be stopped. Thus, institutions provided different modes of learning that would not require direct interaction, and one of the most is online learning. Some students consider online learning as a problem because of the lack of resources, and others find it ineffective. The reasons of inadequate resources were solved through giving them materials, while those who found online learning ineffective, the institutions became more flexible. However, there is another solution for these difficulties is that this must start within ourselves and become disciplined citizens.